stop cam.
Hang on a minute.
Okay, and we are live. Hi, guys, and welcome to Divergent Motivation. Yeah, I know you already know that our amazing guest today is Stacy, so you guys can come and pick her brains as much as you would like. She's here for you, and she's gonna, anything you need from her, you can go ahead and put your comments or questions in the comment section. So without further ado, Stacy, welcome to Divergent. Hi. Your place, our place.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you already know our panel, which is Baron Darren and Baron Scott. Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. I'm very
and welcome. I'm super excited to have you here.
Thank you. That's great to be here. So
feel good. This is your house as much as it's ours. And I will probably just start by asking you your life before the affidavit and your life after the affidavit. Yeah. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
So way before COVID, I was doing a lot of research into legal and lawful, which I thought at the time were different. I was looking into the Magna Carta, load of BS now, as I know, but at the time I was like, oh, this is fantastic, this, and I was doing a lot of reading. Followed people like that Jordan Maxwell and the likes of, and I just thought, oh, no load here. So when the pandemic hit, I knew it was a load of BS. I knew it was all a load of just all planned, pre-planned, because I've been following that, reading all about Agenda 21 to 30. So I knew what it was, knew what to expect, and I thought, oh, I know loads here. So I was helping people, saying, follow this, look at this. But I had it all mixed up. I had the Magna Carta, then I had common law, then I had contract law, and I thought all these things were really, really good. I thought, oh wow, this is the way to go. And I was saying, oh, this is how you deal with the police, this is how you deal with this, and this is how you do with that. And I'd be like, oh, the all caps names that, and all this, this means that, and you don't do this, you say, do you understand? It was all that floating around my head, and I thought it was amazing. So I thought, well, I can help people here. I mean, with me, it was never about money. It was never, ever about that. It was about feeling good for helping people. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of feeling good and a bit of feeling people think I'm great. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit like that as well. But then I really got my heart and soul into helping people, and I got to the point where they started saying that the jobs are compulsory. Everybody's got to have a job to remain employed and all this. And I thought, right, so I can help people with this. So I thought, right, I'm going to take people on for free, just help them and come to their disciplinaries, do their paperwork. And a lot of these people I knew, they were friends of mine. And I thought, oh, we'll write this affidavit of status, which I got off one of the websites from the common law people. And I thought, oh, this is great. And it said, I claim my body as my property, and only I get to do what this with it. I claim this and I claim that. And it was all a load of jibber jabber. But at the time, though, I thought it was amazing. I thought, yes, this is great. Anyway, these people took these documents in, didn't they? And they went to their disciplinaries, and well, the next thing that happened was they ended up getting still saying if they didn't have this job, they'd be sacked. And I was like, oh, just keep it going. They can't sack you. Anyway, they sacked them, didn't they? Oh, my God, they sacked two of these people. Then they sacked the third one. I thought, oh, my God, this is not working here. Now, I've known Anthony, Baron Anthony Heath. I've known him for longer than I've been in the group. And I was in contact with him when he was down the jibber jabber. But I'd noticed that recently This is going back a year and a half ago. I thought, oh, he's doing well with all these letters. He seems to be using a different thing to me. And I noticed that he was using like the affidavit. So I thought, oh my God. So I went down Anthony's wall. I downloaded the affidavit. I thought, God, a few days until this woman goes into her disciplinary. I'd heard of the affidavit. I'd listened to the affidavit on the YouTube, and I thought a lot of it. But I also thought it was so different to what I knew, because I thought I knew that, you know, a load, but I didn't. So I thought, right, sod it. I'm going to just leave all that one side.
Let me just, did you felt like a big, would you, when you, with the amount of knowledge that you already gathered from all the resources that you had prior to the affidavit, when you were reading the affidavit, were like important things that you felt like were against, or you feel like your brain was saying, oh no, this cannot be possible, and all of this? No.
Yeah. When I first I listened to it on the YouTube, and I thought, oh, a lot of this is making sense, and I was using them bits, and I was taking them bits out of the affidavit, and I was actually putting them into my paperwork. And I was thinking, right, I can use this and I can use that, but I was still mixing it all up. I didn't realize the importance of it all being in one document. I thought, oh, I can put this in there and I can put that in there, until that night when I read Anthony's page, and I realized that he was using the affidavit and then just a couple of letters that he'd written using the things in the affidavit. So I thought, right, okay then. So I listened to it, I read it a few times, and I can absorb information quite quickly. And I thought, right, okay. The only one I didn't get was like Exhibit C. I thought that was very long-winded, but I could still like break it down a little bit. But I thought, hang on a minute. Reading Exhibit B, they've got no authority to do any of this at all. I thought, and that's a stance that Anthony's taking. I thought, I'm just going to go for this. You know, I'd read it a few times over there, a few days. I'd had a day off. I'd read it in the evening. I'd gone over it and over it and over it. But right, so I went in with this lady, and she was convinced that she was going to get the sack. And I thought, right, okay, I'm determinedly not going to get her the sack. But I was still thinking, I don't know. For if this works, then I'm going to go to this. Go in there, say to the people in there, can you read this and provide a rebuttal before we go any further? And they were just sort of looking at us a bit weird. And I said, well, are you able to do that? And he read the first page, and then they adjourned the meeting for like 45 minutes, and we sat out there. It was as if I was waiting to go into court for a sentencing. It was that type of thing. The suspense was unreal. Anyway, they come out and they said,
that was what, in school?
This was in a care home. Do you remember, in the care home? Yeah, when they were saying they couldn't work there anymore without this lady. She'd already like fought it, you know. Obviously you don't need to fight it, do you? But she'd already gone through all that with masks and then the PCR testing, and now it'd come to the vaccine. I was thinking, oh my God, you know. So anyway, they adjourned the meeting and brought us in. She said, and the fella that was in charge, well, there was 3 of them. It was like quite intimidating, a panel there. And I thought, well, I'm going to just speak for her. And I said, well, we can't go any further until you've read this, now that you've been served. And do you know that I didn't even know like the proper words like liability, obligation. I wasn't quite at that stage yet, but I was saying, you've got to read this and you've got to do this. Still commanding them. Anyway, they sent us home, and they didn't continue the disciplinary. So what must have happened is they all went over the document. Anyway, they decided then at that point to have her in the following day and asked if she'd be willing to sign some sort of, a waiver, to which I said, no, I'm not going to sign a waiver. I said, because I said she doesn't need to sign anything. I said, she's already signed a contract. I said, and that contract still stands. Anyway, they let it go. And she's still employed to this day. Hates the job still now. You know, was
that your first encounter and like, okay, this thing works, yeah?
Yeah, that was. And then I used it again the following week with another lady. In fact, that was Monday. This was on the Friday. We used it again with another, and she kept the job as well. So that was fantastic. All the others, they all got sacked. Some of them, admittedly, since then, they've been asked if they want the job back, and they've said, nah, we don't want it back. And then one girl caved in and said, yeah, I'll have my job back. I thought, oh my God, just no. But anyway, that was it then. With that week, I contacted Anthony and I said, right, let's get on to this now. I want to really, knuckle down here. That week, Anthony made me admin in the group. And then Adrian James messaged me on one of my things. He said, right, this is a load of jibber jabber, like on one of my things, on my old things. I said, to be honest with you, Adrian, I said, totally agree. He's like, what? You what? And he messaged me and he said, a dead long thing. And he said, do you actually agree with me? I said, honestly. So I explained to him what I've just explained now. And I said, listen, basically, I said, I realise now, because I think like ages ago, like a year, about 6 months before that, I've been booted out the group for being in like the common law sort of cult, not the cult, but do you know what I mean? I said, right, so he let me back in, and I thought, right, this is it now. I'm drawing a line under all that bullshit, and then got into the admin, into the group, and then it's all gone from there really, and started reading like all the liens, putting them on repeat, listening to them over and over again, and then like breaking them down. And then I've done quite a lot of MP liens. I've had a short break while I'm setting up this business, and then in the next, end of February, I leave B&M, so then I'm going to be on the liens, and I want to do them one by one, gas and electric first, knowing that I'm not going to get no attachment of earnings order, because although I know the affidavit probably more or less off by heart, I know the content, I know the facts, I know everything about it, but I'm thinking, well, because I know it, I also know what they can do, these because we're dealing with criminal terrorists, that's what it is. And people who have got a job working for a company like, say, Asda's, B&M's, anywhere like that, it doesn't matter what lien you've done, the management and the payroll are going to deduct that out of attachment of earnings, because they feel like they've got an obligation to do it, even when you send a letter saying that this is what's going to happen and I'm going to do this, and then I might be in a position where I get an attachment of earnings. And they told me that we would have to take that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, right, fine then. I thought, well, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. I know the facts. I'm going to get out of the situation instead, move forwards, and, better myself. So that's where we're at now.
Basically, your life before the affidavit and after the affidavit, what in a sentence, what can you like say that changed?
A vast improvement, more knowledge gained, a lot of knowledge, open new doors, open new pathways, actually open my mind to step out of my comfort zone a little bit. More like I wouldn't step out of my comfort zone at all this time last year. A bit before that, like a year and a half ago, I'd be like doing the same thing, working exactly the same hours every day, wouldn't do this, wouldn't do that, wouldn't go there, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And I was sort of like stuck in a rut, sort of enjoying that in a way, but not in another way. And I was thinking, I can do better than this, but that job's comfortable. It's comfortable. Little did I know that job is not all, once you realise you're getting taxed, you're getting this, they're stealing from you, really, aren't they? It's all confidence, faith and belief, and you're just a number working for them companies, and there's more to life than being an employee of a company. Do you know what I mean? And there's more to life than just like the same thing in and out, in and out. And okay, I love routine. I have to have routine, but sometimes there's there is a cut-off point when it can become a bit monotonous, when you've got to think, right, okay, there are other doors. I can't just do this all the time. I can't just be the same thing, working a boring job, doing not a lot much, And then you realise that, you can challenge these things once you take the power away from the government, because they've still got the power. You've still got like a government-based, well, not government, but you know what I mean, a company. Mm-hmm. You're working for a company, you're getting tax credits, you're getting all this, that, and the other. They've got control over you, and you don't realise it until you actually
they bribe you. They bribe you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They do, and what is your advice for someone that comes the same way as you did, like from common law or all the other jibber jabber situations? What is your advice? Like from your own experience, what is the advice that you give to people when they're starting? Yeah.
Give it a chance. It's a long document, which puts a lot of people off. And to be honest, it wasn't even the length of the document that put me off. It was just the difference, because I don't do change. That's all that put me off. So if you're like me and you don't do change, then this is a change like for the better, because you're actually learning a lot more. And then you can have that as your new thing that you do. And then for the people that are a bit afraid of like reading a long document, to them, I'd just say listen to the audio, because I found the audio really, that drums it into people. Just take your time, because if you try and read it all at once, it's very overwhelming. You think, oh my God, there's a lot to this. So break it down exhibit by exhibit and just give it chance. Don't think, right, okay, I've read that and I think it's just all this, that, and the other. When you first read it, you'll learn so much, but after you keep reading it, even now, still things jump out at me, and I think, oh yeah, I forgot about that bit, or oh God, even little tiny bits, and I'm thinking, oh my God, how did I miss that bit? And I'm still doing that now. So, because I'm trying to read it a few more times recently than I have been reading just over and over, because I want to be prepared for when I start my first lien on British Gas. So yeah, I want to familiarise myself with it over and over again. But yeah, if people just do that, they just keep going over it and giving it chance. Just give it chance. Don't expect to like understand it in one day. Yeah, that's my advice there.
It's so important for people to understand that when they take these companies on, what they're going to do.
Yes.
Because there's so many that have done this, but they haven't taken the time to learn. Well, what do I need to prepare for?
Yeah.
So when it happens, they just don't have a clue what to do.
No, they've not thought it through, and then they're saying, "I've sent the affidavit and it hasn't worked." It's like, oh my God. When they say that I've sent the affidavit and it hasn't worked, I think, oh my God, I just think, my God. So you just don't understand it then if they think they've sent it and it doesn't work. And then, they've got to be prepared. They can realise that we're not dealing with a government, we're not dealing with police, we are dealing with terrorists and we're dealing with criminals. And once they get their head around that and realise that these people are gonna attack people who don't fund them, because that's what they're gonna do,
Yeah, they're not gonna. Nobody's gonna want to be accountable, and they're not gonna roll over to anybody.
Hi, Anthony. So yeah, that's what it is. These companies, they're ruthless and they are criminals. Yeah. And I think, that's what they've got to realise, which is why I thought before I start doing the liens and that, I'm going to make sure that I've got my own stuff, my own money coming in, money that I'm making for me, without having to go through like the workplace and that, because they can just stop that immediately, can't they? Or attachment of earnings and all that, and they've got that control. I mean, that's one thing, but I mean, with me getting tax credits as well, I thought, like, well, they're gonna, if they don't take it from their earnings, they'll take it from there. And people don't realise that. They don't think that through before they start doing all this, and they think, oh, I've done all this and it hasn't worked. But you know, they've got to like pick their battles to begin with. Maybe like a parking fine. I mean, you know, that's fair enough. But when it's actually like, say, council tax and gas and electric, unless they really know what they're doing, they are going to get a bailiff come to the door. And if they've sent all these documents and they still answer the name and go, yeah, you know, then the screws, aren't they? They've got to really know how to not deal with these people, and like that they've got no obligation to speak to them in the first place.
That for people is the ultimate fear, is having the bailiff at the door.
Yeah,
big
that's
time.
It, that's the ultimate. Yeah,
I went in the garage today in the week to grab some fuel, and as I walked in there, I could hear a woman. She was talking to the guy who owned it, really moaning about. She's got some kids in Bristol, and she's having to pay 9 or 10 quid every time she goes in there 3 or 4 times a week for the green air zone instance. And so straight away, I just straight in there telling them about this stuff. And her reaction to it, you know, it's really scary. Like I told them, like, you know, I got £2,000 worth of fines. I've done the paperwork, and I'm not hearing nothing from them. That was her answer. Is this really scary if that bailiff comes to the door? Because we've all lived a life of trauma and threat, haven't we?
That's it. Everyone has, and it's like you know, they're narcissists, aren't they? And they've done that sort of narcissistic thing. Everybody's scared, everyone's fearful of these people, and really then nobody's agreed to have their company govern or them people govern. And that's how they see it. They're so scared.
All of every letter that comes through the door ends up with the same, with at the bottom somewhere there'll be a threat.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and it's just a life of threats until people say, I'm not fucking having this anymore.
That's it.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I went out on Friday and we went to Manchester, and on our way in there, we went past the clean air zone. Underneath it said under review. And I said that loudly, that's because people are refusing to pay them. I said, people are holding them to account now and they don't pay. And one of them went, what do you mean they don't pay? What will happen? I said, what will happen? I said, absolutely nothing. I said, you're not under any obligation to pay. And my fellow goes, oh no, here we go. And that was it. Then was it. I thought it was 2 glasses of wine. And I let rip. So I was telling them all about the affidavit, all about the baron, all about the liens, all about this, that, and the other. Oh God! And it went on and on and on. And I think, oh my God, this is a good education. This I spent the most of the evening going on about it.
But we know what's going to happen. They're going to threaten you. They're going to send you some threatening letters.
Yeah.
And like it says in Exhibit G. A debtor is where there's proof of debt, whereas there is no proof of debt, then you are not a debtor. So what we're all subject to and used to is them creating debt for us. Yeah. Where there's no agreement, and this has got to stop.
That's it.
We incriminate ourselves, really.
Yeah.
By going along with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we didn't hear from Scott. Scott, are you there? Did you join us tonight, or?
I'm here, just listening in the background.
Okay, you can jump into the front row then. We don't want you in the background.
Get in there, Scott.
Listen, I think what changes in people is a mindset change.
Yeah.
We go on about the taxation and all of these sort of pitfalls, but we've got to understand that we've got to stop taking the benefits also. Yeah, because whatever you take or give, or whatever's taken from you, it's given to this fraudulent terrorist organization.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about it maybe a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, about the tax credits and what it's another scam on the British public. It's just a tax benefit for companies. That's all. It tops up people's wages at taxpayer expense because companies don't have to pay people. That's it, really. That's it. So we've got to learn to stop taking them, and it is difficult. Not everybody can immediately, but we've got to try and work our way out of the shitty mess that we're in.
It's difficult. It is, but it's like at first I thought, oh, I can't do this, and I was relying upon that money. And I think if I wouldn't have met somebody, I'd still be stuck in that rut. But the mindset was like my whole mindset changed, and I'd actually become ready to meet someone because of my mindset change. And thank God thank God he's awake as well. Yeah, so that's good. But yeah, the tax credits, people are it's a bribe, isn't it? It's a bribery.
It's a bribe, and also people are forced to accept it because of how much everything costs.
Yeah.
I think I went into the co-op yesterday, and a small box of cereals now like £4.50.
Disgusting.
Do you know what I mean? It's getting bad. It's getting real bad.
Yeah, and they did a good job making people dependable on the system, you know. Because
that creates the fear, Carla, doesn't it? That creates the fear in the first place, because once you become dependent on something, you're then not in control, and it can be taken away at any time.
Yeah. And I think what Stacy is experiencing now, it's her own power.
Yeah.
And it's good what you are saying, because one of the things is we can't do it alone. I mean, we can do it alone, but it's harder. But when you have someone on your side that thinks the same thing as you, and that is with you and empowers you to, okay, we will make a decision. We will not feed this monster anymore. We will feed ourselves, take care of our family, take care of our business, because ultimately we are good, you know.
Yeah.
It's our surroundings and the things that we encounter, like the obstacles and everything, that makes us or be anger or either be in a bad mood every day, you know. Because imagine if we were all here like experiencing the things that makes us happy, how wonderful this world would be, you know. But the system as it is and as it was always, it was designed to be this way. You cannot be happy, because when you are happy, you are creative, you know, you create things. And like you said in the beginning, and I like that very much, that you said that one of the things that you were doing with the common law was helping people, because you felt the need and the urge to help others, because that's who we really are.
You
know?
I just like to help them, you know. So I think, oh, that's me feeling good for today. I've helped somebody, and then they tell somebody, oh, she's helped, and I'd help them, and I would feel good from it. So, which is why I like to go on the group now, like, and write in the comments, because I think, well, that comment there, loads of people can read that and think, oh, she's helped me today, and they can get so much from them comments. They can think, oh, we'll put all them together. And some people will say to me that they save all the comments, like from me and the other guys, and they like all our posts and all that, all the admins and that write the posts, they save all these posts on things, and it really helps them, like, write letters and things. And I think, oh, that's good to know how many people, and then they can pass that knowledge on again then for free, and everybody's just like gaining off like one little comment there, or, you know, one little post, which is why I try and keep my posts going every day, because I think, oh, the amount of people that can read them, benefit from them, share them around, and, you know, it gives them a good feeling when they start their day.
You've got a real way of wording it, you know, real easy to understand.
Yeah. Well, I like words.
It breaks a lot. Yeah, it helps breaks a lot of the paradigms that people have. I think they're really, really, really good as well. Okay, so anyone has any more questions to Stacy? Darren, Scott?
I'm good.
Anything you guys want to know? We already know everything. Okay, so then today we are gonna go and help with the help of Stacy into Exhibit G on the affidavit, right?
Yeah,
which is an exhibit that most of the times people they just pass through it and don't really know what the hell is going on. So I think it would be great if we could break it down. Yeah. So an Englishman, home is his castle.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to share the screen, Scott, or you want to go and just read it.
Or was he ready to share the screen?
He's good. Yeah, we can wait until he gets ready. It doesn't matter. In the meantime, if there is any questions you guys that are watching us want to ask Stacy, feel free to put the comments in the comment section. And a big kiss to Anthony that is listening us tonight.
This is
good to see you.
Stacy, we could
going on.
Yeah, we could while we're waiting for Scott, you can tell us what is going on with in Birmingham, what's going down with the meetup that Anthony is organizing.
Yeah, so it's on the 25th. I'm just going to go into the chat now, the 25th of February, which is on a Saturday. I'm pretty sure it's 7 o'clock. I'm just going to go back to it now. Saturday workshop in Birmingham. So yeah, it looks like quite a few of the admin are going. And he's booked it. If any admins are interested, you can have the 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then he said he's paid there. Oh, Saturday. Yeah, sounds like Nin's going, Anthony, Steve. Looks like Mark, Susie, Darren. So there's quite a few people there. So I'm going to.
What day is it? What day is it?
It's a Saturday, so that's good, and it's 7 o'clock. So 7, 8, 9, 10.
What day?
25th.
25th.
25th. Okay.
And Carta's going as well.
Oh, are you coming as well? That's great. Oh,
no, I won't. I don't like Birmingham.
No, do you not know? No. Oh.
No, I don't know. There is something about that but this is just me and my energy feel kind of thing. I don't like it. I don't know.
No, you're not kidding. No. I'm not bad. Yeah, I don't. I'm okay as long as it's not somewhere too far away. Although, like, I'm trying to step out my comfort zone a bit lately. I wasn't ready to step out of it the other week. So soon after Christmas, I had that much going on. But I also got this this van for the business because we're going to do like he does windows and I'm doing the dog walking. We're doing a bit of like cleaning and that as well, so we're getting all that set up. And now I was thinking, right, I've got all this going around my mind, and I've got this, but now it's all sort of sorted, and I know what's going on. I'm ready to do that. To do a little meet up. I think we've got it on the screen, an English one.
Yeah, we have it on the screen.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so who's gonna start explaining this exhibit?
Well, it's relative because I remember on my first Zoom, I can't remember what it was, but they said when you take this on, you've got to be able to pass the doorstep challenge. So having the bailiff turn up.
Yeah, pass the doorstep challenge. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. God, yeah.
Well, these fuckers are persistent, so you've got to know your shit. But really, I mean, we can go through this document, but ultimately, it boils down to one thing: you can't use force in a civil matter. End of. Yeah, that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
An Englishman's home is his castle. This is doctrine. Yeah, 1,000-year-old doctrine. So it's a tradition, not just here. Yeah, I mean, in reality, it should say a man's home is his castle.
Oh yeah, thank God you make that reference, because I have like most of the people that are on Telegram, they are from everywhere, states and whatever, and they're always asking me, but this says that it's an Englishman, so this doesn't apply to here or there. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, it applies, Carla, through the fact that the 174 countries, including America, Canada, and all of them that have got constitutions, right? They are basically companies owned or on the company's asset list of the UK. So anything that's tradition here is tradition throughout the company.
None of them have ever consented to be governed, so that stands for them all.
Yeah, I like this first here where it says that when she entered into service, well, reference to Queen Elizabeth, status servant. Yeah. This is very important for people to notice. Of her own free will. This oath was to uphold the laws and traditions of this land.
I mean, let's look at what a tradition is, and a tradition is something that people do freely. Yeah, it's not written down. As I say, there's no verbal agreements.
Yeah.
You do that every single day. It's the reason that most people don't punch each other in the face every day. Yeah. It's an unwritten law, an unwritten agreement. It's a fucking agreement, though. Yeah. You don't have to tell people not to punch you in the face, and you don't have to keep reminding yourself to not hurt people every second of the day. They're just traditions. We do these things because we understand that we don't want them doing to ourselves, so we don't do them to others. That's what tradition is.
Yeah.
They're just. Yeah, and there's traditions everywhere in every culture.
Yeah, there is one in an African culture that every time, and this is like amazing, because people speak, but if we had no laws, this will be this. Yeah, that one is a good one. This would be chaos and yada yada.
That shows how ignorant they are, though, doesn't it? When they start coming out with that, I think, oh my god, my god.
There is an African tradition where each one, if one of the members does something that like causes loss, harm, or injury to another member of their community, what they do like a circle, and they put the man or woman in the middle, and they start, each one of the people in the circle start telling them how special and amazing and fantastic, all the good things that he did, until to a point where the man or woman that stands in the middle, they just clean themselves in tears, And I think when I was watching this, I was like, wow, this is like really impressive, because instead of reprimand or send them to prison or do something bad, you are bringing the good. You are reminding that person that it's really impressive.
I mean, it's a basic right, isn't it, that we all share? That right to a home where we can feel safe. We shouldn't be beholden to entities for our own security. I know enough neighbours and enough people around me to live in a fairly safe community. If there were no police and no laws or no acts and statutes, it'd be a much safer place to be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it's fairly safe where we are. I know there are terrible places in the world, but that's because it's allowed to happen, because these traditions are overlooked, and they're just being trampled on and trodden on by terrorists, basically.
Yeah.
Terrorist organisation, yeah.
This what I would consider a law to be is something that everyone could all agree on.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So we'd all agree that if you went outside and it was raining, you're going to get wet.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, we'd all agree that, you know, the man's home is his castle, because you're not going to want someone barging in your house, because then that person, then you could then go and barge in their house.
Exactly.
So we could all agree that we've got our safe place, you know, where that we're entitled to. Everybody would agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's how I see what laws would be, basically, or are.
Yeah.
It's just they've just got mixed up and are used in place of like acts and statutes.
Yeah.
So when they're saying the law, they're actually talking acts and statutes.
Yeah, rather than like inherent rights that you're born with, and everybody's got them, and fundamental, you know, my rights and where your rights begin, that type of thing.
Well, this is where it comes down to doorstep challenge, because it's all right people saying, well, my home's my castle. Well, do you know how to defend it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We've forgotten how to defend, haven't we? It's no good just saying the words and just waving pieces of paper under people's noses.
How would it work then, say, if the because I'm helping this girl at the moment, they're Polish, they are, and they had their house broken into by terrorists. Basically, the police raided their house for and took some drugs and money out of their house. He was growing and selling cannabis, and they broke into the door by force. Broke the door down when they had two young kids there, forcibly strip searched them without even telling them. And from my understanding, they didn't produce any sort of warrant or anything. I mean, and now they're trying to charge him, the guy, and all this, that. So, I mean, where would you start from there with them people? I mean,
it's difficult, isn't it? Because I bet obviously English is not the first language.
No, I'm able to converse with them to an extent in Polish, and they can understand English, so I'm able to break it down for them a little bit. And I've got them reading the affidavit. Like, the girl's fluent in English, she's fine, so she's sort of like translating it to him. So basically, I mean, they force their way in, so you just got to let them force in, haven't you, when they're like that? I mean, because there was say about 8 cops there trying to get into the house. You can't really stop them. 2 people can't really stop 8 people breaking down the door by force, can they?
Well, unfortunately, you've got to let that happen.
Yeah.
You don't let them in. You have to, if they want to get in, they've got to forcibly get in, and then you've got to document this after the fact. Yeah. Because they've got no legal purpose to be there.
You have here in the second paragraph, it says, an English home is his castle, and an assault of a castle is a recognized act of war. So that's exactly what they did. Yeah. So you have to go through sometimes, depending on this, on the situation. You have to let it unfold, and as long as you know that after you deal with it, you know. Yeah,
that's it. So, I mean, what could they do there? I mean, obviously, I've got her reading the affidavit now, and she's understanding it. She's messaging me, oh my God, you're saying all this, that, and the other. So I've said, well, you know, at this point, I mean, there was no warrant produced at all. So obviously, well, I don't think they've got one. But even if they have, then it's not a proper warrant, is it? It's just a...
That's your first point of call, Stace. It's your first point of call, because they can't be there without a warrant, so there has to be a warrant. Whether it's on fucking paper or whether it's digital is irrelevant. Right? Otherwise, there's no warrant at all.
Yeah.
And then they're just acting out damn right criminals out there instead of hiding behind the company. But that's your first part, and the only thing you can do, mate. Don't forget what we're talking about here, Stace. We're talking about criminals.
Yeah.
Who mostly don't really realise they're being criminal.
That's it, yeah. And that's the problem, isn't it? They don't even realize they're doing it.
They have their own belief system that they are doing the right thing, you know, and they are helping. That's what they believe.
It's bad, really, because I mean, there's no victim there. There's a couple selling a few drugs. Do you know what I mean? Just to make a bit of money.
Call them drugs. Let's call it what it is, Stacy. It's a plant.
Yeah, plant. Yeah.
I judge nobody, right? It's a plant.
Yeah.
No one ever died from smoking marijuana.
Oh no! I mean, they were selling amphetamine as well. I mean, that to me as a drug that actually helps people. So I mean, they were selling them 2 drugs, and I mean, those 2 drugs people actually benefit for. You can get more done with them, and you can, do you know what I mean? And like cannabis is like a painkiller, it's a cancer cure, or it helps people, doesn't it? So in many ways.
Well, whatever it is, Stacey, I don't advocate anything really.
No.
But what I don't fucking advocate is men and women pretending to have a warrant and breaking into people's houses. I've got an issue with that. I've got an issue with
definitely,
that. That's where I've got a major issue. So
it's wrong, isn't it? So
well, the only course of redress you've got, Stace, is you've got to get every single name.
Yeah.
Who's involved?
Trying to do that just now. They've written their numbers down, and I phoned them up. I'm saying I'm phoning up and phoning on behalf of the lady's name, and the men required the names. I said I got badge numbers, and they're like, "Oh, who are you?" And I said, "Oh, I've got power of attorney for so and so. Are you a solicitor?" I said, "No, I've got power of attorney for so and so." And asking stupid questions like that. I said, I'm under no obligation to discuss whether I'm a solicitor. All I need are the names. I said, they're working for a company and therefore obliged to provide me with details of their name and their station number. I said, the badges are here. And they're like, well, we are not obliged to give it to you. I said, oh, right, okay. And it just sort of went round in circles. This was like phoning up 101 and they were saying first it was Merseyside police, and they were saying it wasn't. It was Cheshire police, and it went round in a circle. Finally, we've got the confirmation that 2 officers are from Merseyside. One's from Wales and one's from Cheshire. So it's a bit of a all over the place, really. And they said, well, if you want any, because I said, well, we need to see proof that there was some legal authority and who authorised this. I was asking some questions, and they didn't want to give me anything, you know. I said, I asked, was there a warrant on there? Signed by somebody working in the office of the judiciary, and they had no idea what I was on about. I said, the guy that calls himself a judge said who's signed it and all this, and they don't want to know, they don't want to engage with you, So it's a little bit like we can't get too much.
But did you do that by phone or did you write?
I did it on the phone because I thought I'll phone up for and on behalf of them. I've got the email address for the different police forces. I've sent I've sent about 4 emails now. Got the girl to send the affidavit. That's
the pointing start, the affidavit, it's the foundation, it's the Trojan horse. So once you send that, giving that specific period of time for them to rebut, now you have agreements in place. So anything they say, they have to prove it. So I mean, I'm not fond of calling them because I know that they are. They don't know nothing. I mean, they really don't. So I prefer to do it everything on paper because at least I have a course of record.
Yeah. I only phoned them up because I wanted the names and like the email addresses, and I couldn't get that online at all. So what I've done now is I said, well, email the affidavit to the chief constable of Merseyside.
Yeah, and ask them to send you all the material evidence that that originated all this.
They said I had to submit a subject access data request. I said,
oh yeah, no. That's their way. But we do it our way.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, you grab that and create another agreement through that. You know, it's like a stalemate.
Yeah.
When we are playing chess and we have a stalemate, nobody wins, and that's a win already.
Well, I thought they're not going to give any information out unless I do that. And I thought, well, no, when I explained to her that we don't request, I said, because we're begging them. She said, right. And I said, because when they went there, they gave her a piece of paper, and obviously she didn't know me properly. She didn't know what I know at this stage. And then when I went down, let's get some smoke, and I said, oh, what's happened to your door? And then so she told me about it. So I was like, right, I thought affidavits. I'll start talking to her. I was there for an hour, added it to the group and all that, and then I started telling her all about this stuff. So she's only been learning it for like 2 weeks, and already she's thingy. So when I told her, I said, what happened? I said, when they come in, she said, oh, they give us this piece of paper and they asked her name, and I said, did you speak to them? She said, well, yes. I said, right. I said, you're under no obligation to do that. I said, if it ever happens again, anything like that, you just say, am I obliged to answer your questions? And as soon as they say no, say, okay. And then don't say anything else. Don't say anything else. Comply under duress. Just say comply under duress, and then just say, because now you'll know the affidavit. I need to serve you with this affidavit now. And
that's one of the things that the affidavit brings you as well is preparedness.
Yeah.
Like you said, she's only 2 weeks studying it. So it's natural that she has all these things going on, and now she's dumped with this, and what am I going to do? And we say to people, this is not your savior. You are the one who's going to have to learn to save yourself. And like Scott was saying, let's give the right words to the right things. It's not a drug, it's a plant. So if they say that it's a drug, well, prove your claim. Who put this here, right? It was here before we came. So I say to people, the most important thing is that we need to break the fiction every time we are encountered with it. Always breaking that motherfucking fiction, because if we allow it to go any further, we are being complicit, and we are allowing them to use their words and deterp and do whatever they want with it. So give her time, and she will learn how the affidavit is going to make her look at life in a different way. Like you were saying in the beginning, we know that we are dealing with criminals, and these criminals, they have harms. We have nothing. So you don't go and get yourself into war with a bunch of flowers. It's not the right weaponry to go to war.
No. I explained to her as well. Like, she messaged me today because I'd written a post about the name and how you're not a piece of paper and that. And she messaged me. She said, I understand that post you wrote there. She said that I understand now. I said, the pennies dropped, and I read that in Polish.
It comes with time. You will see things different, and you start to prepare yourself differently as well.
Yeah, it's like when
no one can see in the darkness.
No.
Yeah.
It's only when you switch the light on can you see. That light going on is the information going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So we're all idiots. Yeah.
Yeah. We are.
No one knows how a spade works until you've seen it work, or you've seen someone use it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
So it's the whole thing's a learning process. We're all learning.
Yeah.
But when that happens, look, it's a fucking steep learning curve, isn't it? It's a proper steep learning curve.
Yeah.
Baptism of fire, I'd say.
Yeah. That's it, because I mean, like, it's like when you're driving out, they're traveling along and they stop you, you think now, oh my god, these people are just basically pirates pulling people off the road and like by force and demanding to see like ID and things like that, demanding, saying you can't.
Let them demand. That's where I feel like we need to get to a point where we need to understand that they are just doing their job. And that's what they tell you. I'm just doing my job. Okay, go ahead, do your job then. Because now we know better. Before we didn't know, you know. But now we know. And like Scott was saying, it's not that we know everything. No. And I take that for myself. The more I think I know, the more I know I don't know.
That's it,
It's just hilarious, you know, when you think, I know this. Oh, forget it. You don't know nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
when I did your thing.
Yeah, there is so much. It's like the intricacies of all our existence here is just a complete jigsaw. And if anyone is telling you that they know everything, prepare yourself. They are lying. No one knows nothing.
It's like when I went on your talk, on your thing, your call the other week, I thought, oh my God, I wouldn't, you know, I knew these things, but I didn't say them put on the spot. It's like, oh my God, I would have got arrested and detained there. You know.
You mean the role play?
Yeah, the role play. I'll have to come on that again, because now all I'd do would be I'd stop willingly and say, before we go any further, need to.
Yeah, I think that when you get to where me, Scott, and Adrian, we are, you know, you will learn one thing that I think we learn, which is it's all jibber jabber, man. Forget it. You don't want to fight. You don't want to argue. You don't want to do anything, because you know that it doesn't matter. The things that really, really, really matter is how are you going to place yourself in the game from now on. You know, like building communities and with like-minded people. And okay, we've seen it. The world is upside down. It's getting all convoluted, you know. Are you going to be part of that convolution, or are you going to step away and build anew, you know? And with the affidavit, I think this is the opportunity we have here to build something new, and I would dare to say something magnificent.
Yeah.
This is a dare.
It's a starting point, Carl. I've always said that. It's a starting point.
Yeah.
People are fearful of when they read it. Well, what does it mean? And you know, the realization of all acts and statutes are in the bin. Well, what about criminals? The acts and any criminal process under an act and statute is fraudulent.
Yeah.
All of it. It's all fraudulent.
They don't get that, do they?
Yes. It's unfortunate, and it creates other issues, but that doesn't negate from the fact that it's fraudulent. So yes, we're going to have some issues, but let's deal with the facts first. The whole system's fucking based on fraud. No one has ever agreed to nothing. Constitutions, Magna, whatever you want. There's no agreements to any of it. Not in full knowledge. It never has been. So until you can get that starting point for some, not for all, So some will never get it. Some will get it if they're shown. Some get it straight away.
Yeah.
But it's what do you do with them facts once you know them? You carry on shouting them from rooftops, because I got bored of that quite a while ago. And I just, time to put stuff into action.
Definitely.
Even a starting point is, you know, like Stacey said, they wouldn't give any details. Well, if they're doing everything correctly,
it's not about giving details, right? So it's again that mindset, Darren. Give it. That's coming from a defending yourself point of view. So the onus isn't. I must give you some details. How do I get out?
the police won't give any names of the police that were there or any information to Stacey.
Right. So again, Baron, what David Ward showed us, he showed us the path. He put a lien against a traffic warden who wouldn't give the name.
Yes.
So he used their office name, which was CEO 84, I believe.
Right. Okay.
So you could use their collar numbers.
Yeah.
To hold an account, because it's that collar number that's in the office. Don't forget that man or woman that represent that collar number is the surety.
Right.
They have the liability. They have the commercial liability. They are insured. Yeah.
Yeah, because they are in the office of.
Yeah, so basically it doesn't really matter then if you got the name, as long as you've got their badge number, then
absolutely,
you could even do, get to start reading
again, for me, Stacey, do you know, if you can demonstrate and show evidence of you attempting to get a name, and this so-called public body won't supply those names.
I've recorded the calls of me trying to get the name, so yeah.
You need to get all that documented, and that just adds to the validity of what you're saying.
I've sent emails as well asking, and no reply, no response from any of the emails asking for the names. So I mean, yeah, I do.
So when it comes to even down to the basic thing, what's your name? Well, first of all, let's not get into an argument about names. Am I under you show me an obligation where Mr. Scott Herbert has to provide any details whatsoever, any information.
Yeah.
And they can't.
You can't.
So we can't move past that point. It's moot. You have to stick at that point. Well, and stick at the basic point. So when it comes to your point, the warrant. Yeah. So we don't move past the warrant. Where is the warrant? Who signed the warrant? Where has the warrant come from? Yeah. Who applied for the warrant? Yeah, these are the details that you need.
Yeah. So who applied for it? Where is it?
Well, look, one of two things happened, Stacey. Either the police came to your front door without a warrant at all, right, and they broke in, and they did whatever they did, completely and utterly criminal and illegally.
Yeah.
Or they had a fake warrant that they believed was a warrant.
Yeah.
And in the carrying out their duties, right, they did what they did. Yeah. So but they're in a belief that they've done the right thing.
Yeah, they think
because they believe there's a warrant. So that's where you stick. So where's this warrant? Don't tell me there's a warrant. We want to see the warrant, and we won't move past this point.
Yeah.
Because without the warrant, without a signed warrant, they're there illegally, and they've done whatever they've done illegally because there's no signed warrant. Because no one's liable.
Yeah.
And B, that there's no way that they can take it to court because there's no evidence.
No evidence because it's all illegal.
Because anything that happened after the fake warrant is criminal.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. That's it. So
the names, it's those little points. We don't move past this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get repetitive, but we don't move past this point.
Yeah. So we do not move past that point until obviously they're not going to produce a warrant because they haven't got a legally binding legal warrant. They've got either an unsigned piece of paper or they've got none at all. So they're not going to be able to produce it. And what they might produce is something with like a typed up name on there, which is not a warrant, is it?
Listen, in carrying out their duties, if there's a warrant, then it just clears everything up. Everybody, you have a right to see the warrant at least. Yeah, you should have a copy of warrant.
Yeah, like they didn't ask for it because they didn't know. they didn't know they had to ask for anything because they just didn't know.
But then doesn't it go down
at that point?
Copy should be
Yeah,
left.
at that point, yeah.
But doesn't it go? You know, say they had a warrant, wouldn't it go down to the point that who had authority to sign a warrant and allow?
Well, of course, mate. That's the whole point, isn't it? Because what they're saying is, well, we've got a warrant from the court. Okay.
Yeah.
So where's the legal authority on that document?
Yeah.
Because words on a piece of paper are just words on a piece of paper. They carry no authority whatsoever.
Yeah.
So what gives them legal authority? What gives that? What gives it authority is someone taking liability for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it be a company or a man or.
That's why Exhibit C is very important.
Yeah. A document.
That's why Exhibit C is very important. When you look at that graph, you will understand better what we are explaining, you know.
It's it's so important, really. We overlook the paperwork. We get bamboozled. Stick with what's in front of you. Any document that's unsigned or that doesn't comply with Exhibit D is therefore non-legal. Can't respond to a document that's non-legal. No one's taking liability for it. Someone's expecting Mr. Scott Herbert to take liability on receipt of the document. So what they're pretending is that it's coming from an office. Well, that office can't fucking send a document on its own. There's a man or woman in that office getting paid to take orders. They're liable. Or further up the food chain, CEO. But somebody's liable. So, get it down to basics when you receive documents. Keep it in its simplest terms. Even if you get stopped, can I have your details? Well, what details? Well, what's your name? Well, which name do you want? Think about how many names you have, Stacey. I bet, Stacey, right? I bet the name that you most hear is Mum. Mummy.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, which name do you want? Do you want my legal name or the name that my kids call me or the name that my friends call me?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, what name do you want?
The onus is never on you. It's always them making a claim. Well,
They're making the claim,
we're making a claim that we can ask you for details. Okay.
If they ask me that question, I would answer, oh, do you want the most common name that people call me?
Exactly.
And I will give them the C word.
I'd say the most common name.
Oh, that's what normally people call me most of the time. You can have that one.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, they've got no authority to ask
okay, so there is a part here in sorry?
Yeah, they've got no authority to ask
you were
for
saying?
details in the first place, have they? So
no one has.
Got no authority whatsoever.
Yeah.
So does this part you say so?
Well, there's a paragraph there where you just put the cursor that would suit what you would ask these police. There is a claim here that.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Read that one, Scott.
Which one?
That one.
There is a claim here that since the late 20th century, bailiffs have also had increasing powers of entry. This is incorrect because a bailiff in the 20th century is a Crown Corporation servant, and the Crown Authority has no authority without a legal agreement that the Crown has an authority. There is no material evidence to the fact that there is any legal agreement. This fact has now been confirmed. Case authority number, David Ward versus Warrington Borough Council, 30th day of May 2013.
So you just change, bailiff and a few words around to the police officers or whatever they call themselves, and there's, so everything that is needed to be asked in a situation like this is all contained within somewhere within the document.
Yeah.
So it's all everything you need to ask is there, ready, in it. It's all done. You just got to change, a few words around here and there.
Well, the best way to look at this, and again, case law is basically the King's law. So all statute law starts off as the King's law, yeah, or royal assent, King Queen's law. Then it gets tested by the commoners and becomes common law or case law. The only fucking bit of case law you need to know with bailiffs is Vaughan versus Mackenzie, 1969. If the debtor strikes the bailiff over the head with a full milk bottle after making a forced entry, the debtor is not guilty of assault because the bailiff was there illegally. So, in other words, if a bailiff comes to your door and you ask him to leave, he's now there illegally because you've asked him to leave. He's now trespassing.
Yeah.
So if he tries to gain entry, you can hit him over the head with a milk bottle or anything else that looks like a milk bottle. And that tells you all you need to know. That tells you that nobody can use force other than you defending yourself. Yeah, anybody trying to use force on a civil matter or a debt, they've got no right to be there, and you have full right to hit them over the head with a milk bottle. And that's all you really need to know. Well, if you can do that, you can do pretty much anything you need to do in order to remove somebody.
Yeah. It's a good one, that.
And this, the rest of this exhibit is basically case law, just basically proving that these bailiffs have absolutely zero rights.
No authority.
Yeah, because they are Crown Corporation servants. So they work for a company.
Yeah.
So they have no powers whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a debtor can remove an implied right of access. Look, we've all done that, and they all ignore it, don't they?
Yeah, all of them.
Does that mean it don't work? Or
No.
does that mean they just ignore it?
Means they ignore it.
Exactly, Stace.
Yeah. It just means they're ignorant. But, they're either ignorant or they're just not educated in it, or they're just deliberately avoiding it. There's always a reason for why they're doing it, but that doesn't mean that it's not right because it's been formally agreed to. So it is right. It stands as fact.
We have to assume, don't we, that they're ignorant until we can prove on paper that they're fraudulent.
Yes. Yeah. So it's only fraudulent in nature.
Yeah, there is one here that I like to. Yeah, there is one here that says a debtor is where there is proof of debt. Where
Absolutely.
there is no proof of debt, then you are not a debtor.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so I mean,
That takes us back to last week or week before, Carlo. Did we do there is no money?
Yeah, exactly.
How can there be a debt if there's no money?
Yeah. How?
How is that even possible?
Even if the guy wants to come and you are in the mood of expressing yourself, you can always ask him, where is the proof of a debt? Were you there? Did you sit and saw and witness anything? What are you talking about? Yeah, they have no first-hand knowledge of anything.
No.
Yeah.
They are third-party interlopers. What are you doing here? I don't even know you, So bye-bye, so long, and farewell. I have nothing to speak with you. And your dealings is always with the one making the claim to begin with. Yeah. If someone is claiming that you owe something to someone, yeah, okay, let's see, where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
Where is the contract? Where is my obligation?
So
If none of that exists,
all of
go
these
ahead.
so-called warrants, then, so from bailiffs to arrest warrants to attachment of earning warrants, all these warrants, they've never been signed.
No.
And they rely on fear of the public. Most people don't want a bailiff at the door.
No.
So they're happy to pay up anyway. Or the embarrassment of a bailiff at the door.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want people to see that they've got a bailiff at the door and they're embarrassed and oh God. It's just because they care too much about what other people think about them.
Absolutely.
Let's reply to Mia. Mia is saying, best of luck finding a milk bottle these days. I don't think a carton would have the desired effect. Mia, that's where we get creative.
Take a praying out of it.
Isn't
Milk bottle,
Darren?
Yeah, milk bottle, baseball bat, pool cue, any garden pot. Yeah.
Hose, a hose, Darren.
A hose.
It's still set up there and they ain't come back.
Yeah. I might get just in case it happens in the future, one of those guns, you know, like the kids got they do that like that slime thing. That'll be sick. That imagine that little silly string in there.
Well, I mean, these bailiffs prove time and time again they have no authority.
Yeah.
You know, the last one that come round here said he'd seized 2 vehicles and he was coming back to take them 48 hours later, and that was about 5 months ago. So they've proved he
got lost in the woods.
Exactly. He's proved that he's had no authority, and that's why he hasn't bothered coming back, because he's made a claim and he cannot fulfill it. He can't carry out what he said, so he looks like an idiot now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
you know, and that's what they expect.
We can read. We can read this one. The very presence of a bailiff or third party. Are you there? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we can read this one.
Okay, the very presence of the bailiff or third-party company who is engaged in a recognised act of war is an assault. Hold on. Where have I gone? Recognised act of war.
Yeah, you know, wait, Stacy. Darren would be Scott would be very helpful if he could zoom in a little bit for us all to read. But he's
oh,
thank you.
Who was engaged in a recognised act of war is an assault on the castle, and it is reasonable for the police officer to arrest the bailiff where there is a recognised act of war. If the police officer does not arrest the bailiff on request, then the police officer is guilty by default of an offence against legislation, which is the office of malfeasance in a public office. The offence of malfeasance in a public office. The police officer is also guilty by default of an act of fraud, as he is on duty and being paid for his inaction. The penalty under legislation for these offences are as follows: 25 years incarceration for the offence of malfeasance in a public office, 7 to 10 years incarceration for the offence of fraud under current legislation for which the police officer is culpable. So there you go.
Yeah.
Then
what people need to pay attention. Yeah. What people need to pay attention is this part here on request, and the police officer is guilty by default of an offense against legislation. This is where all the magic happens. You know, it's not that he's not doing like dealing with the bailiff. No. That's where we got the police officer. It's because he's going against what he's there to protect.
Yes. Yeah. He's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what we all fall under. Legislation. Yeah. You know, so this is the clever part that people read and they don't get it. Why would he be, why would he be guilty of committing an offense? You would think that his offense was because he's not doing his job of arresting the bailiff. But no, his offense is against the legislation. Because that's what he's paid to be there doing. Do you understand?
I do, yeah. It's crazy, isn't it, when you think about it, that that's what he's being paid for. Yeah, he's getting charged. He's guilty under that. God. Yeah.
Because that's why when they say, "Oh, I'm just doing my job," oh, really? Okay, so let's see what is the description of your job then.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they are there to protect the policies of the company that they work for.
Yeah, protect the
and now
policy enforcers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they are there back in the day, policy enforcers. Whether that's true or whatnot, but policy enforcers weren't they called?
Started out, Stace, right? As far as I've looked into the history a little bit.
Yeah.
And I went. I can't remember the dates, but they were called the thief takers.
Oh right, okay.
And basically,
now they're being the thieves themselves.
Well, right. So it was a guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Who it was aristocracy, and he would find out who was stealing what from who, and he would go and steal back the items and sell it back to the original owner, and he made quite a lot of money from that. And then he was made. He got a job in Parliament, basically doing the same thing. And that is where the police originated from. The thief takers. It's a whole huge story. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. But yeah, the police were never there to protect the men and women. They're there to protect the aristocracy from the men and women, so they can stay in power. To protect their property and their legal rights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and in the so-called
exists on paper. This fucking crazy legal world, it exists on paper. Don't forget. Let's think what a state is, going backwards a bit. But the state is an abstraction.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was created by man, but isn't controlled by man.
By man. Yeah.
Now have a little think about that. So if it's not controlled by man and it's an abstraction and it's enforcing legislation upon the men and women, it's all on paper. That's why it really is an illusion. But ultimately, these men and women who purport to be government, who are in actual fact mafioso-style criminals.
Yeah.
They created this system. Yeah, they created this legislation. They've altered it over the years, different families, whatever. But ultimately, it's legislation. All of it. That's what everything's controlled under. And it's all commercial. Everybody's under commercial liability because it's a company. And because of that, these are their rules. Malfeasance in a public office carries with it 25 years incarceration. Just think about that. All taxation is criminal. So think about every office that collects tax. They're all in effect guilty of malfeasance. Just because they weren't told that what they were doing were criminal, that's their problem. They should understand what they're doing. It's no good just saying, "Well, I was just doing as I was told."
Yeah.
So yeah, we can only ever use their legislation because that's all there is. Yeah, the men and women make their own agreements outside the legislation every day. That's what men and women do. They make law between themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of it sticks and becomes tradition. Yeah, the obvious stuff. I mean, you can understand why this became a tradition, because it's like a basic right, isn't it? That everybody has the right to a home, yeah, without the threat of it of being kicked out or losing your home. Everybody has that right. It's like a basic right, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely.
And I think that's ultimately where all this bullshit comes from. Government. That's all this is about property and keeping property on paper, but it's bullshit. It keeps men and women in fear and stupid. And it needn't be that way, really.
No.
But yeah, public office. They're all in public office. If they're using acts and statutes.
Okay, let's go to the the next page, which I think most of the people don't really know what to do with this one. So the legal notice to bailiff or third-party company.
Bear with. Let me just bring that document up, Carla.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to remove this one then.
You chat amongst yourselves.
So tell us, Stacey, are you enjoying being here with us?
Oh yes, very much so. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I thought
okay, so we can have you more times then. Yeah.
Oh yes, I'd like to join again. Definitely. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it. I think it's great sharing, like just sharing like my story and how I've come along. From like finding the affidavit, using it a couple of times, introducing other people into the affidavit and getting them to read it and pass it on to other people. And I think that's empowering when you realize that people started that because I told them, that it's a good idea to read the affidavit and to like get to know the facts, and then they can start using it. So yeah, fantastic. I'm really pleased. Yeah.
And we are pleased to have you with us.
Oh, thank you very much. I will. You won't get rid of me now.
Yeah. You are the third wave. You, Darren.
Oh, I will join you again,
definitely.
I'll read one of my letters out next week. One of my little analogies, if you like.
Yes, that's it. That's
God.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scott, do you want to explain what to do with this one?
Where's he gone?
Okay, or Stacy, if you want to go.
Yeah, so it's a legal notice to bailiff of third-party companies. So it could be enforcement agents. Basically, they're all enforcement agents from like these debt companies. Third party, that could be the police or any company. Notice to agent is notice to principal. So basically, everybody from that company. Do not ignore the notice. Ignoring this notice will have legal consequences. So you could initiate legal proceedings against the individual that ignores it. Notice of removal of implied rights of access from this time forwards and in perpetuity. That means forevermore. I love that word. So we got I, Baron Scott of the House of Herbert. So that will be I, Baron Stacey of the House of Evans, or whoever your name is, hereby gives notice of the removal of implied right of access to the property known as, and there's your address. Postcode always goes in the square brackets, because in their like world of jibber jabber, that's what they say that people can't read it without. So we just like do that anyway, even though we're not under an obligation to do so. We just do it just in case you go the start throwing jibber jabber at us. And surrounding areas along with all associated property, including but not limited to any private conveyance and in respect of the following. Please also take notice that the land known as England has recognised historic traditions and any transgression.
Traditions.
Traditions. So that's the traditions that will be dealt with according to the traditions of this land, where it is an Englishman, woman, or whatever they call themselves these days, houses, his, her, she, her, castle, and any transgression upon that property is also a recognised act of war. It is recognised that a state of war has been declared by you. Let the battle commence. So that's whoever. I am man who has recognised status by natural descent according to the traditions of this land, being Baron Scott of the House of Herbert, claim indefeasible right to self-defence and to protect the House of Herbert family castle and the contents therein, but not limited to 31 Snydale Road, Wakeford, and surrounding areas. So any transgressions will be dealt with using any force deemed necessary at the discretion of the House of Herbert. You have been given legal warning. Your personal safety and the safety of any agents may be compromised if you ignore this legal warning. No course are given. Nothing will prevent us from defending our life, our family home, castle, and all that is held within all natural and inalienable rights reserved as recognised by the historic traditions of the land. You've been served legal notice, and then on there signed off on the bottom. So basically, when we do a notice, normally a notice does not create an obligation or a liability for the recipient to be liable under. However, because this particular notice is contained within the affidavit, it has already been formally agreed to in the affidavit. So when you display that on your door, if you've already sent the affidavit, then it is actually standing as fact to that formal agreement. So you can actually, there's more force behind this notice. It's not like your standard notice. So basically they are under an obligation as a claimant to come into your door to read that notice. So if anybody does come to the door, shout out the window, please read the notice. And then really they should then leave immediately. Otherwise, like me, I'd send the dogs out myself. Then that's deadly force. Then if anybody comes in the garden, and there's not a lot they can do because they've come into their house there, and the dogs have just attacked them because they're a robber, like a terrorist coming over the thing, and like so yeah.
Instead of the milk bottle, you have the dogs, which is always good.
I'll say food. Better not say it too loud. Actually, they're coming in. But I can say go and get them. Anything like that. They hear. They don't have to hear it anyway. I mean, Trixie the staffy, she hears everything, and then Bronson will just bark. He'll hear it and copy. And his bark is deadly. Just the sound of that bark. He's not aggressive at all, but you'd think he was if you heard the bark. But yeah, milk bottle.
Important to note, I think you mentioned it. Sorry to butt in, but you mentioned it right at the beginning when you said a notice don't create an obligation, and you're right.
Yeah,
it's just a legal notice. It's like it doesn't create any obligation whatsoever. So what I do, and this is just me, I don't display this in my window on my gate. I don't bother. By the time anybody comes to my gate, they've already had this notice in the affidavit.
Yes.
Before they've even come to my door, because I've had a document from them. So they've already been served the notice. So I don't necessarily put it on my door.
Yeah.
I know some like to. They ignore everything.
Yeah. So
I don't do it either. I use this in my first, like if I'm doing dealing with the bailiff on a lien, this goes with my first communication. So it will be like the first page.
Yes.
And it goes again inside of the affidavit that I'm attaching to that first communication as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, look, if it makes people feel a bit better, then display it. I'm not saying don't.
Yeah.
I just choose not to, because if somebody comes to my door, bailiffs don't just come to people's door, right? There will have been some sort of correspondence first. There always is, whether they hand delivered it or whatever. But there's correspondence, and I respond to correspondence.
Yeah,
I'm not interested in monkey that's delivered it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So you don't necessarily need one. I used to have one. I haven't got one up now because I think, well, if anybody does come, they've had the affidavit anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You've already had it. So that's it. So yeah, so it's just like some people do prefer to have them up because it makes them feel
no right or wrong, Stace, mate. Definitely no right or wrong.
But I mean, another good one is to have the Exhibit G printed off by the front door. And I think what I'd do is, if anybody did knock, I'd just post it through them to through the letterbox to them the other side, and just say, "There you go."
Well, look, a good mindset for people to get into with bailiffs, right? To me, you can make it fun, right? So they don't realise this, right? But on paper, what's happening? One company's trying to litigate with another company.
Yeah.
Right. So they're only there on business. Well, every single business I've ever been to, you're not allowed in without signing a visitor's book.
Yeah, so I have that.
Yeah, create yourself a little visitor's book, name, registration, date of birth,
contact number, the company that you're working for.
Exactly, be as personal as you possibly can be, and use this particular notice as part of the signing in book.
Yes, yeah, that's a good idea.
When I had my first bailiff, it was on the day that I was going to meet Scott and Dave Kingswood. And again, you can know every single thing, like we are here and we can have this talk because we are laid back and everything, you know.
Yeah.
But when I had that first one, I was caught on surprise, and nothing of the things that I know came out, you know, or even my paper that is next to my door. I was in a headspace of picking them up, you know, and the only thing that came out was every single thing that the guy was saying. I was like, prove your claim, like a broken record, you know.
Yeah, well, that's
and the guy just left, you know, because I didn't say anything. I couldn't remember anything, to be honest, because, like, again, you are in I never had a bailiff at my door, and your nerves go like through the roof, you know. And that's the only thing that came out. And the engagement lasts 2 minutes and 40 something seconds, and that's it. Never again. And then when I met Scott and Dave, I was talking about that. We were laughing, and then Scott said, "Oh, you better be prepared because normally they do 2-3 visits."
Yeah.
And I was like, the days after, in the months after, I was like, I'm ready. Let them come now. I'm ready. Now I know my shit, you know. And I'm still waiting, guys.
Yeah.
Over a year has passed, and I'm still waiting.
Yeah, they're quite overworked, I think.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah. They've probably got that many now to go there. They just get fed up with the ones that they know they're not going to get something off. And if they've done liens, they're probably thinking, oh, no, we'll leave them. We'll leave them. We're not going to get anything off them.
Yeah.
And look, when it comes to conquering fear, because ultimately that's what it's all about. It's just about conquering your own fear. Come at this from heart-centered. Forget your brain. Your brain is trying to tell you all sorts of things. Your brain's an idiot, just like my brain. So start listening to your heart. You know what's right and you know what's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. People understand what right and wrong is when they start listening to themselves.
Definitely.
Yeah, we get stuck in our brains. Our brains deceive us. but our hearts they can't deceive us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Really good. Okay, so we covered this Exhibit G, and I think it was a good one. So are you guys ready for the next bomb I want to drop on you?
Yeah. Go for it. Go on.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it. Go on.
Oh, Darren, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here, yeah, but I'm not ready.
Scott, are you ready? Come
Well,
on.
it doesn't matter whether I'm ready or not. You're going to throw it at me.
Yes.
Come on.
Okay, so this week I had a lovely conversation with someone, and that someone was trying to make me understand a few points. And the best point was this one. The UK has a written constitution. In that written constitution, it's not spread all over many documents. No, it is a one single document, which is the Constitution of the UK.
Wow.
So, with that statement, I ask you a question. Do you guys know of the existence of the UK Constitution? Who's going to go first?
Can I go first?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Before we get to this document, is my signature on it? Because if it's not, right, you can shove it up your ass. And to be honest, Carla, I'm getting a little bit older, and I do forget a few things, but I remember most of the things I've signed.
Yeah.
And I don't fucking remember signing nothing, mate. Look, I've never heard of it, mate. I know people believe that the Constitution's made up of a few documents, blah blah blah. But again, written by fucking old men who are long dead.
Exactly.
Okay, so you have no knowledge of said constitution, right?
Well,
I have no first-hand knowledge of it either.
as this question, whoever posed you this question, have they produced said document?
Oh yes.
Okay, so we've got a copy.
Oh yes. Wait, let me hear from Darren. Okay, Darren, do you have any knowledge of this document being the Constitution of the UK?
I'd never heard of it until now, but it's just more paperwork from a corporation, so it wouldn't surprise me. But it's
it isn't. Oh no, it isn't. That's where all the long hours of our talk went through.
Well, who read it and when?
Constitution.
Okay, so no, let me create the suspense first. Okay, so do you have any? Do you have any knowledge? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, you, Stacy. No first-hand knowledge as well.
I can't think that I've got any first-hand knowledge of this, unless it's something that you're referring to that I've read, and it's that.
Yes, you've read it. You've read it, Stacy.
I think it's a hidden meaning in your question. I think it's something we've read. I think it's something to do with the affidavit or the barring.
Oh no.
Mm-mm.
No. The whole conversation was to really tell me that the Baron David Ward's affidavit was flawless because of this constitution. Yes, there was some points in the affidavit that were not okay. But there were some points that were missing, and the affidavit would become a better weapon if the Constitution was in there.
Oh, see, I've never heard of this. That's the first I've heard of it. So
okay, so you guys want to know what is your hidden long lost constitution.
Yeah.
Well, my dear friends, your
And I-
constitution
I
lies.
feel like we need a drum roll, Carla.
Yes, please. To all the United Kingdom, 63.7 million, your hidden constitution is the Magna Carta.
Oh my god.
Oh dear.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I told you this is going to be a good one, yeah?
I've certainly read that one.
So that one is where your constitution lies. And you want to know why?
Why is that?
Because it was the commoners who written the constitution.
How do they know that? Were they there? Did they witness it? Are they in the Guinness Book of Records for the oldest living man or woman?
Yes.
So what were they telling you, that the affidavit would be better if that was in there? Is that what they're saying?
Yes, because that's what's missing for this affidavit to be complete.
Wow.
And my question was, have you read the fucking document, man? And he said, no, I don't need to.
Oh my god. Yeah, he comes out with that jibber jabber, or she, or whoever.
You don't need to. So how come, if you don't need to read it, are you trying to make me believe that the Magna Carta is something that is more powerful than this one? And then I made him look through my eyes, which is what you guys were saying. This one is here. I'm here with it. The Magna Carta is dead. And the people that were there are dead.
The Baron's turning in his grave here and all that. The Carta going into
You know what? I think he's having a laugh. Because he's sending me all these motherfuckers with the most absurd questions to my side just to test me, you know?
Oh my god, that is unbelievable, isn't it? It really is unbelievable that all the bullshit these people come out with, like the Constitution.
I mean, if you guys didn't know that one, that's a gem. And I ask a question, so why it's Magna Carta and not the Constitution?
Oh god. But imagine if somebody took that seriously.
Because Portugal, Carta, it's a letter.
Yeah, I mean,
is it?
Yeah, Carta is a letter.
Right.
And I made him.
Magna Carta means Great Charter.
Well,
a charter is a letter. It's a contract.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's a contract to charter. But again,
and I made him look at the Portuguese Constitution. Yeah. And I said, this is written Portuguese Constitution. Why is it that yours, like the American one, it's the American Constitution, right? So why is it that yours is Magna Carta? It doesn't make any sense, right?
Strange, isn't it?
And besides, at that time, from what I know, it was the barons that wrote that down, right? And they threatened the king for him to sign.
So they like to put him under duress then and for him basically.
King John was the servant king. Yeah, he was put there by the barons, supposedly.
Yeah.
And the year you've got to go to the year before the Magna Carta, or 2 years before. I think it was
two. It was 2 years.
1213, right?
Yeah.
So he was a servant king, and he basically signed England away to the Pope, and that's why the Magna Carta was created. But he was still a servant king. That's why they fucking didn't lose their heads. Yeah, they were committing treason, weren't they? So why didn't they lose their heads? There's no fucking mention of that.
Yeah.
So that's why, because he was the servant king. You can't give a kingdom away that don't belong to you. He was a servant king. So look, it don't matter what fucking document it is, right? At what point did you or even your ancestors sit down and agree in full fucking knowledge and understanding of what you were doing?
Yeah.
When did that happen? It's no good relying on these documents, Magna Carta, Constitution. It doesn't matter what document it is, you're relying on something, right? That's fucking created fraudulently from the outset.
Yeah, and it's not your creation. This is my creation. The agreements that I'm doing now, it's me, the woman that is alive, creating those agreements. There is no dead involved here. No dead people involved here. You know, men and women dealing with the things here and now.
Yeah, because dead people can't make up documents and rules for other people and impose them upon other people. That it's like me saying, like, I'll write something down now, and then in like 200 years' time, I'm gonna, like, from the grave impose it on these people or get people to impose it on them on my behalf. And it's crazy when you say that, isn't it? But that's what they're doing now. That's what they're doing by what they're doing with these documents, trying to, like, Magna Carta, acts, statutes, legislation. That's exactly what they're doing, isn't it? We're trying to say that they're applicable to people when nobody signed the consent of the governed.
It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? I write something down now, and people have to listen to that for the next 800 years. Why would you ever fucking think that is acceptable to even say that? It's mad. It's madness.
Yeah.
Stupid. It's just insanity.
People just can't use any, some people just can't use any logic whatsoever, can they?
No.
Where's our obligation to listen to writings of dead men?
Exactly.
Why would we listen to do you know what I mean? You can't verify anything. It's fucking hell.
It's just.
I mean, we are talking about 1215.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, really? Are you mental? Are you living in that era or this era? Everything changes. The world is changing. Everything is always changing. So, I mean,
it could have been written in 1915, and none of us here would know any different.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody fucking knows, do they? First-hand knowledge.
Yeah.
Without the first-hand knowledge, then it doesn't apply.
I was really hoping because when the conversation started and everything, I was really hoping that, okay, he's going to show me something that I never saw. But I find it weird because I've been reading lots of stuff, and even in their books, there is nowhere that they mention any type of constitution or whatever.
No.
So I'm just like, what? And when you go and you read the where the Constitution came from, like for me, the Portuguese one, that the United States got their constitution from our constitution, and we took our constitution from the French. I mean, you start to think that there is something that you are telling me bollocks, because where did you take yours from? Who wrote it for you? Where was your inspiration? And that's why when the Magna Carta came, I just started laughing because I'm like, really? I mean, honestly, it's a Carta. Magna, it means like the great letter of all times. If that's what you are meaning, okay, you are completely correct, but it's not a constitution, it's a motherfucking Carta,
It's the great charter as well.
Yeah.
And people will believe that, though. That's the sad thing about it, is people will hear that and people think, oh yeah, we're protected by this Magna Carta. We do the affidavit and add it in there, and that's what you get on all these other stupid groups, people who have done things like that, and all of a sudden people are following them, thinking that, oh yeah, that's exactly what we do. This is
But
what
they really do believe that this thing has some sort of power, and you can extract some sort of power or justice through it, And I was explaining to him this. I said to him, listen, I have here and now my own affidavit, and I can touch it. It's mine. Every single word, I am responsible for every single word that is there. Yes. Right? So it's here. It's not an illusion like the word state. Yeah.
Yes.
And you are talking about something that you don't have it. Yeah. It's in some museum or whatever. No one even gives a fuck about it. Yeah. And you are wanting to bring that thing out. Why don't you write yourself a statement of fact, and that's it? I think you would be better suited with that than with that Magna Carta. But this doesn't sit well with people that really believes that this Magna Carta has some sort of
belief again, isn't it?
I don't know.
Just like a belief.
Even us with the affidavit, we are all the time saying no amount of paper will ever do anything for you if you don't know how to stand your ground.
This, isn't it? I mean, we're not saying that,
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. It really is.
It's a letter home.
It's crazy. It really is crazy how they do. It's like a Bible to them, isn't it? This Magna Carta thing. It's like they live and breathe it, and everything is the Magna Carta, and nothing.
No, I think that they want to use this Magna Carta to go in, because his conversation then went through some hallucination worlds, and there was a point where I was completely silent, because I said, you know what, the floor is yours. Do whatever you want to do. If you feel like you have to change my mind, I'm telling you straight ahead, I have no mind, so you don't need to change it.
I can say you're wasting time.
Yeah, you're wasting your time, because unless you can bring me the facts to the table and I can read them myself and I can analyze them myself, you are just wasting your time, And he goes on like the justice system, and that's why if you take the Magna Carta, the system and the justice will be applied, and yada yada. And there was a point I was just not listening. I said, you know what? Just go ahead, talk, whatever you want to talk.
That's what I get like now. I'm just not listening. I'm not interested. I'll play along and I'll listen to them. I'll pretend to listen to them.
The moment you tell me that you want justice, you lost me.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm done.
And you can be nice to these people and you can go along with them for so long, and in the end you think, oh my God, I can't go along with you anymore. And then you try and educate them after pretending to listen to what they're trying to tell you, and then they don't want to know. And it's like, oh my God, I think you're just ignorant, and I just leave them to it. And I think they're stuck in their little fantasy and they don't want to know anything else that might help them. They'd rather just
but that's the thing. That's the thing. If you listen, the only thing that he said to me about the affidavit was, you need to add this and yada yada yada, but not at one single point he was rebutting the affidavit. This is what shocks me. You want to add stuff, okay? You want to do this, okay? But can you please rebut
it first, and then we'll move on to the next stage.
Let's just try to rebut the Exhibit A, shall we?
Most of them don't even know what the word rebut means. I remember saying to somebody on the group commenting in one of the comment sections, and he was like, oh yeah, well, this, that and the other. I said, well, can you rebut it then? He said, what are you on about? Can you rebut it? What do you mean? I was like, oh, for God's sake, I just blocked him. I thought I can't
you can't cope.
There's nothing else I can do for this one. I thought, nah, he doesn't even know what I mean by asking him to rebut a document. It's like, oh my God, go away.
People see rebutting as confrontation.
Yeah. Well, he was like trying to twist everything I'd said, and I thought, do you know what? He's either just that thick and he's not ready, or he's a shill and he's deliberately trying to get some sort of rise out of me here, and I'm not interested. I thought, nah. So I just blocked him. But there seem to be a lot of the shills now, and the thingies are cutting down on them now, because the admin now, myself and the others, we're just not entertaining it anymore. Rather than getting into these stupid petty little things with them, it's just like one comment. On the second comment, they come back, I'll just leave it then and take them out. I think, no, I'm not going to do it, because the alternative is waste time arguing with them and going around in circles, and they still don't want to know the affidavit, or you end up like saying something and then you end up getting a ban. And then that's no good, is it? So I think the best thing to do is get them out before they cause that sort of problem. Otherwise, it's detrimental to us, and we can't post and comment for days because we've had an argument with some fool who just doesn't want to know. So yeah, I think that's the best thing now, to just ignore them. They'll come if and when they're ready. If not, sod them.
Yeah, most of the people. I'm at the stage that I look at people and I see them as really either they are here to make you really see if you are standing in your knowledge, and if you are practicing what you say, and then you have the other ones. I like those people, like they test me, and I like to be tested. So
I don't mind them. Yeah,
it helps me to see how much I can express what I learn and everything. So I like those type of people, and I learn a lot. Yeah, I learn a lot with those type of engagements. Yeah. And then there is the other people that I call them the non-playing characters, which clearly they don't listen and they continue to bang. It's like you are in a video game, and that character is just there to do that, and even if you try to say something else, he will go back to that line. And they don't engage. And another thing that I notice is that even those NPCs, they teach you something, because if you get triggered emotionally because they are not listening, or you want to make them listen, even that is a learning curve as well, because you get to you get to a point you are seeing, okay, this is what I still need to work on myself, because why am I being triggered by this type of people, So I can't.
That's it. I mean, now and again, I'll still get the odd one. And I think, oh my God, why am I even bothered? Why am I bothered by something somebody's written that I'll never meet in my entire life, and I don't even know who they are? Why am I even bothered? And then, but other times I'll react to it, and I'll think after it, and it's like, it's pointless, isn't it? But sometimes it's a test. Yeah.
Yeah, João is saying this is like an internal joke, because we had a king in one of our calls one day in the Portuguese, and he went there. So he got inside of the call, and he starts saying, Carla, I need to speak with you in private. And I said, well, we are all here, barons and baronesses, and we don't hide anything from one another. So if you want to go ahead, you are more than welcome to say it in front of all the barons. And he was like, no, I prefer to speak with you in private, because I already see that you are more ahead, and most of the people may not understand. And I said, hey, listen, if you come to my house and you are already creating assumptions, you are in the wrong, man. I'm gonna kill you right here, right now.
God.
And then João, he starts saying, okay, lien number 1, 15 million.
God.
So this king get out of the call without castles because João, every time he was making a claim, João was putting a lien on him. And at the end, João said to him, you know what? You have no castles, man. You owe everything to the barons because we already have a certain amount on you, and you can't provide any material evidence of what you are saying. So I think it's better for you to shut up. So the guy left the group, and we all said, he who leaves the battlefield first loses by default. Bye-bye.
You do get some that just time stealers.
I'm telling you, we have the most amazing people in Portugal. I don't know how many kings we have in Portugal, but they are many, and they've been growing in trees lately.
That is so funny. So you get the kings in there, do you? Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, we had that.
Oh God, that's so
the whole world's waking up, Carla, isn't it? I noticed Jaffin had a meeting today in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good when you hear people waking up, isn't it? Other people. So
well, the word's spreading, mate. Do you know what I mean? The governments will be no more eventually. That's going to happen anyway. But it's important to understand why, because the narrative will be fucking stolen at some point.
Yes.
Because don't forget, they still control the media.
Yes.
And the masses are just hooked on it, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're just absolutely obsessed with it. They're just watching it all the time. They're listening to it. They're buying it. They're buying like newspapers every day. They're watching the news and they're believing it. They're sat there soaking it up, and they just think that every word of that news is true. And they're panicking, and that's just.
Yeah, Mena is saying he wanted the kingdom of barons. Oh my God, you guys, if you guys were there, you would be laughing because it was just hilarious, because we trapped him so many times. and he was saying, João said to him, okay, let's pretend that all the barons, go to your kingdom. What will you do after? And he said, I would give everyone an affidavit. And João said, well, then you don't have any kingdom. So yeah. And the guy was like, oh my God. He just laughed because it was just, oh my God. He felt like, you know what, you are inside of the den of the lions, and there is no way for you to leave alive. Yeah,
the lions.
It was just like
oh yeah, the lions.
Yeah, king of the hill. Yeah, king of the hill.
Yeah,
king of the hill.
Yeah, we asked him. So what is that you are planning? This one, guys, listen to this one. So we asked them. So okay, we the barons, we understand that there is no money, only faith and belief. And so what are you gonna do with your kingdom? How are you gonna work your kingdom out? And he was like, oh no, we can do a lot of things. And he was like, but of course some laws are necessary.
Oh God.
And then I said to him, okay, listen. So we are saying there is no money. And you are saying that money, there is a need for money. So when you go as a king, when you go and buy something to the supermarket, what do they gift you the things? And he was saying, oh no, I do donations. I don't pay for nothing. I do donations. And we were just laughing like, are you mental? What the hell are you talking about? The guy was completely out of his cuckoo. But the thing is that this people is dangerous because he has like a big following. Yeah?
Oh God, some of them do.
Yeah, they have a big following, and yes, there is people in Portugal still thinking that we should go back to a kingdom, and I'm just like, what kingdom? What the hell are you? Yeah, you know.
Kingdom of one.
Yeah,
My kingdom.
exactly.
Their kingdom, their kingdom.
Yeah. What's the difference between unlawful and illegal?
If it's illegal, it's not legal, it's illegal, and therefore unlawful. Same difference. Not legal.
Oh, Mia, you are on fire tonight, huh?
Criminal.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So we are on the 2 hours mark. Stacy, give us your review of tonight and tell us.
I think it's been good. It's been good. It's been good to tell everybody how it started, how it progressed, and then where I am now. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been good. It's been good. It's been nice. I'll join again. Yeah.
Thank you. And Darren Scott.
Yeah, it's been just another one that's there for everybody to listen to, multiple times, just hopefully that they get a bit more understanding of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we need. More understanding. Definitely.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Carla. Great to have Stacey on.
Thank you.
Breath of fresh air.
Great to be on. Great to be on. I'll be back on the Zooms a bit more now because now I've got my laptop fixed. I had no internet all over Christmas. The EE went down. They just emailed me before saying we would like to offer you some compensation if you can email blah blah blah. I just messaged and thought, nah, thanks, stick it. I thought I can't be asked, But
there are some trigger words that we run from them now.
Oh God,
yeah. That word compensation.
I know. I saw that word. I thought, oh no, you're okay. Keep sticking compensation up your bum. Back online.
Okay, guys, what do you reckon next week? What do you guys want to do?
I'll have a think on that.
Okay. And okay, let me know for next week, or if not, we can give it a pause. We already have lots of good material here, or we can change the subject. Yeah. We can have Scott telling us and teaching us how to foraging. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can talk about that.
Hey, that's a good subject. Now the spring's going to be coming back round again. I'm going to start doing my planting again. Yeah.
I think that would be a good one, isn't it, Scott?
Oh, yeah, I can talk about my new house.
Yeah.
Because look, I know. I noticed a while ago, but I think it was yesterday, day before. I was driving in car. It was about 5:30. And there was still daylight, and it just reminded me of how close spring is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
First day of the year, the new year.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I might start a new tradition of
okay, we can do that next week then. Yeah, and you bring us some good pictures because, like I need to see. Otherwise, I will catch everything and anything.
Before it's getting closer to spring.
Definitely.
Now. Yeah,
I love the spring. Absolutely. Let's do that. Yeah, let's have a change of tact.
Yeah. Well, it's on the same lines, because once you know the affidavit, this is what you will start going towards. Yeah, become more knowledgeable in other areas, and what others can have and can teach you. So I think it's a good segment. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can't just be told there is no money. Well, hang on a minute. There is no money as we know it and we understand it. But what there is there's wealth. And you can create your own wealth by finding things and turning it into something else. That's wealth. Do you know what I mean? Wealth's what you can use.
Yeah. That's it. Okay, don't say anything. Let's leave this.
Guys, thank
suspense
you
on
very
the
much.
air.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye for now.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. And we leave this suspense on the air. And yeah, we'll see you next week then. Yeah, we have a deal.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you guys for joining us. And we'll see you next week as usual.
Bye. How do I go on?